Toyota appear to be trying to play both sides of the field for as long as they can possibly do it. Try and sell some EVs to some people, try and look like they agree with it, and it's a part of their mission statement. And then also try and sell petrols because, to be honest, they've gotten very good at that, and hybrids over the years, over the decades. I even had a Prius in 2013. I went and bought a Prius, really, really good car. So that's what I think they appear to be doing. Now, in this new era of EVs and electric cars, this might mark a blow for their business, clearly, because they've gotten very good at petrol engines and hybrids, but now everybody's being told they kind of should be buying a battery electric vehicle. The European Union heavily pushing for that. Obviously, some people call that the green agenda, for example, and some people talk as well about how that's a controlling thing, and the European Union want everyone to be, trackable and GPS, have everything limited and controllable. There's that whole thing. I won't get into that. These days, Toyota don't make cars as good as they used to, clearly. They used to be really, really good. I actually think at the minute they're missing this opportunity to make, to get customers in early on their electric vehicles. However, they have not shown any interest in this at all. So based on the fact that their EVs are non-existent, they appear to be not really investing much money relative to other companies in electric vehicles. They, the BZ4X, for example, that was the electric stuff from that, the battery, the motors, and that sort of stuff, charging infrastructure in the car. That came from BYD. So this is an issue for Toyota, isn't it? Because they're about to, effectively, in this next 20 years, you probably won't be able to go and buy really a hybrid in 10 years from Toyota because everyone's just going to go to electrification. If you just look back at 2014 and then look back now to 2024, 10 years, look how much has changed. If you look at the graph, I'll actually put a graph on the screen. I know there is a graph, so I'll Google it. And it's exponential. The amount of people buying electric vehicles and the amount that's selling on a yearly basis 10 years ago compared to now, mental. It's a crazy thing. So the only real notable electric car from Toyota, that's the BZ4X. To be honest, the range is not great. It doesn't look very good. The tech is a bit bad. Charging speed is bad. Not very efficient. The drag coefficient is not very good. And it's not really a bargain either. So that's an issue. What is going on with Toyota? I think they're aware of it. They're nearing the end of this current format, this little thing they've got going on. So they're just trying to sell their own version of cars, well-made cars, very often in white, normal cars to normal working people. A person that might put bread on a shelf in Asda, a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, normal cars, normal people. But they were not committed enough too early, and they've left it to now. If you look back, say, 5 years, and you look back now, you look at the data, it does kind of look as though the rhetoric and the understanding is that they just were not going to try and push that onto their customers. In a way, I respect that. And in another way, kind of seems a bit foolish if you look at if you think about the human psyche and what that kind of has meant for their business. So now they're clicking on. They don't have a choice, I don't think. And they did pioneer hybrid technology. I had a hybrid Toyota Prius. I bought it in 2013, drove it around Europe. Amazing car. One of the best cars I've ever owned, obviously. It was a really nice Toyota. The range also really, really good. Didn't cost very much to fill it up with a bit of petrol, and you could drive around. And I really got into the whole hypermiling business. Loved it. A really fascinating thing. Toyota's chief scientist admitted that the company is now talking about ending non-electrified vehicles, so petrols and hybrids, in the US. So basically, there's a quote as well. So Gil Pratt is the chief scientist for Toyota, and he was having a chat with Bloomberg. So in the US, there is a decision being made now, and I'm not a part of it, he said, as to whether to stop making pure ICE vehicles for the US market. So that's Gil Pratt, Toyota's chief scientist. He also told the Bloomberg interviewer, just the fact that we're thinking about that means, okay, it must be close. Yes, I think so. So we're seeing change. Of course, year after year after year, if you look back at the experiences that we've had and what we've seen over, say, 2015, 2016, when you started to see Teslas on the streets of Europe and in Australia, maybe when I was maybe 2017 or 18, something like that. I remember seeing a Tesla in Brisbane. It was the first one I'd ever seen in this country, in Australia. Pretty cool. But now it's time for things to just keep evolving. The Tesla Model 2 next year, the BYD Seagull next year in Europe, for example. I will hopefully try and buy one of those. Very excited. I've always loved Toyota. Quite frankly, they've shown to have an ethos that aligns with me. I really like them. They make cars very well. They make them kind of intuitive to repair, simple to repair. They use good quality materials. The design is well thought out. They galvanize their screws, for example. They use strong metal on their screws. So this is really basic stuff that other manufacturers, even Volkswagen, for example, they've just turned to plastic clips and screws, and they've done not very well with a lot of this stuff. Volkswagen's loads of issues with electronics and sensors and cameras, and the electronic handbrake just not working. Electronic going into four-wheel drive from two-wheel drive not working. Weird issues going on. So this is the Japanese, the Japanese strong point, isn't it? This is a Toyota we're talking about. Toyota, Honda, really good with these sorts of things. Not as good as they used to be, but still very, very good in an evolving, competitive world, in my opinion. So I'd love one day to tell you that I bought, a Yaris, Toyota Yaris, that was electric, the equivalent of 350 kilometers, winter range, the Toyota Yaris. Small, dentable, practical, cheap, not pretentious, just a crappy looking little Toyota Yaris electric car. That is my cup of tea. Hence why I really like the BYD Seagull. It's cheap and basic, not swanky, doesn't look overly amazing, just all right, just like a Toyota Yaris. Awesome. But if it could have a Toyota badge on it, I'd like it. I know some of you don't like Toyota very much, though, and that is okay. One thing that the Japanese excel at over the years, if you look back, say, the last 50, 60, 70 years, for example, there are people that are older than me watching my videos. You'll probably know as well, more so than I do. Japanese are really good with their electronics, at making things really, really well, using the correct resistors, using the correct tracers, using a better chip than another company, that sort of stuff. They're really, really good at that. So they've got a real chance to shine here, and make the most of their brand, which is, after all, a legacy brand. So they've got this backlog of people waiting to buy one already. So if they could just produce it, we'd go buy it. I would tomorrow. If Toyota did that, I would go buy one, more than likely. So this is something that other companies didn't have, and in fact, they've got to convince customers to participate with their business, to engage with it, to give them money. So Toyota have that already in the bag. So if they just decided to be electric, people would probably go buy one. So, for example, if I could go buy a, €20,000 Fiat or a Toyota that had same range on paper, same cars and everything, but one was a Toyota, one was Fiat, simply just understanding the image of the brands and what that kind of has meant for a lot of people, I'd buy a Toyota. I think most people would buy a Toyota. I think most people have heard of all the strange and wonderful things that happen in things like Fiats. Sorry about that. My camera just died, and it's a bummer, really, because I just recorded lots of stuff and it didn't work. But anyway, when I was younger, I had a Fiat and a Citroen, sorry, and I remember pulling the handbrake and the oil light came on. Really, really weird stuff. The other month, actually, a couple of months ago, I was driving and there was a French car in front of me, and the person put the brake on, and there were originally two red lights. One went off, the other one went brighter and started flashing. Weird stuff. It's always the French cars. No idea why. They must be deliberately trying to be bad at their electrics. They can't be that bad, surely. But they are. Toyotas, genuinely really good. And some people like me would just say that you can always trust that a switch is going to work in a Toyota. It's just not very likely that they will break unless they're 20 years old. I think that's still the case with Hondas and Toyotas, more so Toyotas. There are some weird things going with Hondas inside these days, but really, really nice. Anyway, So I think they could leverage this in their brand. Just be really good. Just excel. You know, a part of their brand. They're a bit late to the party for EVs. Could they just become? Could they just market their cars as incredibly well made, impeccably well made cars for ordinary people with the switches that are amazing and really really awesome cars, kind of like the Toyota Yaris and the Toyota Corolla, just a car that anyone can have. It's not overly expensive. It's not meant to look, swanky or pretentious or anything like that. So I just think that's an angle that they could really, really go with because they've excelled for decades at producing cars just like that. I think before the damage is irreparable, I think they're clicking on. I think they're a bit late to this party, though, aren't they? So they know they don't have very long left because the sheer demand for their products is going up for the hybrids, And also petrol is getting more expensive, and I suppose that's a part of it, isn't it? But also, it's just nice. When I was younger, I remember thinking when I had a Prius, someone said, they're not green, And I remember thinking, no, but it's very nice. It's very nice to drive a hybrid or an electric car. They're just very nice. For sheer merit alone, it was worth purchasing it. So that was a thought I had. So in the US, they only sell the Camry now as a hybrid, and they don't sell it as a normal petrol car, just as a hybrid. And over half of their sales now in the US for Toyota are electrified vehicles, hybrids, plug-in hybrids, that sort of stuff. Or just, the BZ4X, complete, full-on electric cars. So, yeah, I often read really fascinating comments from you all about your opinions, I guess, and about Toyota. Whenever I do Toyota stuff, there's always some interesting comment on there about how your opinion has changed or how it's altered over the years. Please feel free to do that again. I really like reading those comments, and I never normally ask, but if you could do that, that'd be really, really cool, because not only do I read them, everyone else reads them too, way before I get to it, and there's always multiple likes and comments and responses and stuff, so that's quite nice. I'm Ben Alexander. Thank you very much for watching. I'm genuinely touched by people taking the time, a few minutes here and there, to watch my videos. I mean, if you think, if 1,000 people watch this video and you all give a minute, that's a lot of hours. That's a lot of hours. I don't take that for granted. So I hope that people get something from my videos, because I don't want to put stuff out there that is not interesting or educational, I guess. So yeah, I don't take that for granted at all. I make EV news videos mostly about things that aren't anything to do with Cybertrucks or sports cars, just normal cars, hatchbacks, affordable cars, that sort of stuff. Nothing too swanky, but yeah, I generally talk about cars that we can all kind of probably afford, I suppose, in countries like Australia, England, Europe, things like that. So yeah, thank you for watching. And I hope you don't mind that there's been some pauses in my posting because of the house renovations going on, and I just got Starlink here for when I'm here, and wherever I am, I suppose I can take Starlink with me. So yeah, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe if you like the video, and like the video, and comment if you have anything to say. Even if you don't like the video, you can do that if you don't want to. You can do that if you do want to. It's all alright. Whatever you want. I don't want to encourage you to do the wrong thing. Just do what you want to do. So, thank you.